good morning, afternoon, evening. Not sure what time of day you're consuming this, but it's the beauty about putting out evergreen content. Really doesn't matter when you're taking it in, as long as you're taking it in at some point. You're good. Let me just get everything shared out, and we're gonna get this thing started. All right, let's do it. You already know what we do around here. Top five Tuesday. Top 5 Tuesday. Oh. Mic check. Facebook.
Top 5 Tuesday.
All right, we're all good. Tuesday. You know what we do? We're sort of in the process of redefining every single day. We redefine the word consistency and what consistency actually means. So first and foremost, let me introduce myself to anybody that may be new to my world, new to this channel, new to me. My name is Aswan Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole brand, this whole concept, this whole way of life that's all about taking new innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and applying them to businesses and business owners so they have a staff and a group of employees that moves as cohesively, as strategically, has the same passion, has the same mentality as a championship youth or high school football team. You heard me correctly. Championship youth or high school football team. We want to translate that mentality into the workplace. That is what we do around here every single day, and breaking down what we've been discussing, what we're going to be talking about all week. Today, we will be breaking down the top 5 ways to pick real role models, not just famous faces. Now, I know what the thumbnails, I know what you see on the thumbnail. You see 2 people that are famous folks, but what we're going to get into today, what we're going to break down today, is the understanding that role models is big. It's a bigger thing than fame. It is not just about what you see on TV or who has the most likes and what's so popular on social media. As you can see, half the time, the things that get the most views and the things that people watch the most are the bullshit, the stuff that goes viral with the constant verbal, backlash, the verbal tug of war. But what we're going to break down today is how to pick real role models, measure people based on their actions, not just based on the fame, not just based on the nonsense that you see, not just based on what's going to get them clout and things like that. But before we get into it, let me just get through a few announcements, and then we'll break down everything as we normally do. Like I mentioned, business owners, pay attention to me very closely. If you have not yet, go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That's freeguide.makeyourmove.com. We work from a very, very easy to understand formula around here. I created a 10-step process in which you can utilize right now to bring out the most in your business, to at least get the ball rolling. That's not going to solve all your problems. And believe me, you have turnover problems. It's not going to solve all your problems, but it will at least get you thinking on the right path. It's establishing measurables, number 1, creating a professional distance, and using those 2 things to create a productive environment. There's no other blueprint. There's no other way around it. You have to have measurables and you have to have a professional distance if you want a productive environment. It's only if you want a productive environment. That's only if you want a productive environment. Let's say it again for the people in the back. That's only if you want a productive environment. You're going to establish the measurables and create the professional distance. Again, just simply click that button. It's freeguide.makeyourmove.com, and something will be sent to you in which you could at least get the ball rolling on that. Next thing, West Palm Beach. Stand up, West Palm Beach. Yes, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker is back to doing boxing lessons, and I actually have a gym to do it out of now. So if you are interested in doing that, the times, you see the times right there, from 6 p.m. through 8:15-ish p.m. I will be available, whether it's myself or, we meet at the Palm Beach Boxing Gym. I'm working on getting the class schedule, getting the things in order now that school has officially started back. But we're back. If you're interested in that, again, this is particularly for my West Palm Beach listeners. If you want to do that, just contact me and we'll go from there. Next thing. I have been made or named the sport and fitness director at the school that I teach at, named the Center for Creative Education. And we are teaching how to track everything. All right. I moved to South Florida because of the fitness community. I moved to South Florida because of the foot. Tell people all the time, it's the football and the fitness that moved me to Florida. When it came to particularly South Florida, it was the position with the Dolphins that kind of align that fitness between the Dolphins and I was a boxing trainer at 9 Round. Between those two positions, it created this idea in my head to where football, fitness, and being able to track it. Okay, if I'm doing something like that, I'm good. So I've been blessed, been fortunate enough to land a position in which we can do that. I'm doing that at the school. And if you're interested in that, if you are that parent that wants to get your kids more active or get your students more active, there's a great opportunity. Just join the email list. As you can see right there, there's 4 pillars that we're going to be working from here. It's going to be about fitness, fun, family, and fundraising. Those are the 4 F's that we're going to work off here. So if those words speak to you, simply join the email list and expect information, expect weekly updates about how things are going on and stuff like that. So again, if you want information on that, be sure to do that. And next thing, college football is back, folks. College football is back. And I have found a location to record a live college football show. We're going to be doing something called the weekly scenario. The weekly scenario, every week, I'm going to put out a scenario in which we'll give you the opportunity to kind of be the head coach or be the decision maker, be the person and saying, what would you do for your team? What would you do if this was your team? And this is going to be great for you business owners now, because again, one of the superpowers, one of the things that one of the staples to what we do here is teaching you how to build that team, build that organization that has that mentality. And you got to kind of put yourself on the hot seat and say, if you were the coach of this team and your job's on the line and you got a player that's acting up and you have to be faced with the decision if you're going to play him or if you're not going to play him, stuff like that, in which you have to apply to business. So we're going to really be engaging you business owners in aligning you with what college football is all about, because it's deeper than what you see on TV. It's so much more in terms of the decisions, in terms of who's playing where, how they get there. It is the greatest teacher. I'm telling you, the business I built is built on the things I've learned as a college football player. I played for 2 different programs and I've coached. Listen, and I spent time as a college scout. It is such a correlation. There's so many parallels to what you go through as a business owner to what you're going to see on the football field, to where if you break it down, it starts to almost become like a partner for you, man. I'm telling you, I can talk about this for days. As I'm working towards getting through these announcements quicker. Just give me a second. It's just when I talk about this stuff, I can't stop. It's something I can talk about for literally hours. So anyway, if you're interested in that, again, West Palm Beach, if you're interested in that, or if you want to do it virtually, simply drop your info here. I'll send you the weekly information. Join Film Session Saturday, which is one of the YouTube channels that I have here. So again, just look up Film Session Saturday. You'll see me breaking down the game and stuff like that. So, and finally, if you are like some of my favorite people that we have around here, you like bump all this free stuff. I want to know who I got to pay, when I got to pay it, and how I got to pay it. I love folks like you. This is who we work with around here. All right. It's makeitmove.com. Hit the tab shop and you'll see my books. You'll see the employee development workshops. You'll see the boxing lessons. All that stuff is available on makeitmove.com/shop. And you can do it, which is going to be important for you as well. Make sure you're doing your research on me to make sure you're doing things the right way, or properly spending your money. I'm an open book. All the information is available for you to read up on me and see what I'm all about. Turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Aswan, he'll diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. Whew. All right. I'm going to get better at those announcements. I'm telling you, I'm working on getting it cutting it down and shaving a couple minutes of it. But because there was so many new things, the school year has started. There's a lot of different things I'm doing, whether it's with the school, whether it's with the boxing gym, or whether it's with the college football live show. It's things got to get announced, and as tedious as it may seem, it's important that you're constantly developing and constantly practicing what I preach here on this show. All right. And for the record, if you're first time around here, I try to keep the show around 35 minutes. Throughout, I used to literally talk for a couple hours, but now I'm keeping it at 35 minutes, getting my points out, working on getting the systems right. Because as I was saying this morning, if you listen to the Daily Move Swiftly Thought this morning, I was talking about making it so systems, all right, really working towards making systems work harder than you. You have got to develop, you've got to work towards making it so your system is working harder than you, because you can't do it by yourself. You are not going to be able to keep the same energy, the same drive, the same hunger, the same grind in your mentality over a long period of time, to where if you're working towards a system, the system starts working harder than you, and you can put all of that energy, all that grind, all that mentality into money-making strategies, into where you're best at, into your money-making skills. Spend more time doing your money-making skills, and then figure out how you can outsource all of the other things. That's what's available to you. That's what has been made available to you. And if you're not taking advantage of it, folks, hear me loud and clear for the people in the back. If you're not taking advantage of these things, shame on you. Shame on you for not taking advantage of AI. Shame on you for not taking advantage on the fact that we can communicate in so many different ways and touch people from all walks of life. Shame on you if you're not taking advantage of the resources that are made for you. All right. So all that being said, this week on Top 5 Tuesday, we are going to break down how to pick real role model. Pick a real role model, not just a famous face. This is a challenge. This is a bigger challenge than a lot of you really understand, because as I broke down yesterday, we're programmed, not through necessarily any fault of our own. All right, everyone, there's no controlling the kind of household you were raised in. There was no controlling what your parents did or where you grew up, and some of the elements and the things that your teachers might have instilled in you, or whatever it was. No one necessarily controlled that. This is not a necessarily something that is all on us. But what has happened is we have associated role model with fame. We've associated the word role model with, oh, this person just has to be famous. And just because they're famous, now all of a sudden they're becoming a role model. They're becoming somebody that needs to be looked up to, or that should be talked about in a positive light. I remember years ago, man, there was because I'm a sports guy. I talk a lot of sports. This is what we do. And the whole debate, the Jordan or LeBron debate, so we're clear, I'm on team LeBron in terms of the debate between Jordan and LeBron. Again, a little younger than the average Jordan fan. And the minute that these Jordan fans start bringing up the flop in and stuff like that, I kind of have to be quiet. So again, it's a never-ending debate. But anyway, I was arguing with someone who didn't know what he was talking about. I was winning the argument because I was able to articulate. I actually watched the game, so able to articulate the things that LeBron can do versus what Jordan can do. And this person who never played, he didn't grow up necessarily in Maryland. I grew up in Maryland where basketball runs stuff. But he told me, when it was around the time when LeBron joined the Miami Heat, and to strengthen his argument, he tried to tell me, Jordan said he would never do that, and because Jordan's famous, everything Jordan says was right. When I rebutted with, hey, Jordan's the same guy that at one point owned the Charlotte Hornets, and have they even made the playoffs? Like, he's the greatest player of all time, didn't even run a playoff team with the Charlotte Hornets. So just because they're famous does not mean they have all the answers. That's what we got to understand. And when you start looking at things from this lens, then you start realizing that the people around you, to really pick the right role model, you have to pick the people around you that you can follow, you can see, you can touch, you can shake their hand, you can have a conversation with, you can get screamed about, you can be disciplined by them, you can be, all of these things need to happen if you want to pick the right role model, not just folks who are so secluded, so out there to the point where you can't even, the idea of even meeting them is so way off the grid that it'll never happen. It is important that your role models are picked the right way. So all that being said, let's jump into the article. Today. So first things first, it is Top 5 Tuesday here on the Move Swiftly platform. And all week We've been breaking down everything you need to know about what it really means to be a role model and how to choose the right ones for your life and your business. Hear me on that. There's role models in business. All right. This is why it's so important. This is why the conversation needs to be had, because it's not necessarily about picking a role model for yourself, but it's also about picking the right role model for your business. All right. Your business needs to have that model. The same way when a company goes franchise, there's that duplicate model. That's that initial model. Oh, there we go. Yeah. There's that initial model of how to run a business, and then people pay into a franchise. Look at the way McDonald's runs things, right? They could, the number is crazy in terms of what they charge to buy into the franchise. But why is it that they do that? Because they're that sure that the money is going to be made, because the model is proven. All right. That's what you got to understand. The model, really understand the model in your business. All right. So a couple things that we need to remember before we dive in. Number one, your desires will shape your role models. Your desires, the things that are pulling at your heartstrings, the things that you love, the things that are burning inside of you. What's burning on the inside? Your goals, values, vision will naturally point you to the people you admire. That is key. It's a set thing. It's something that's put in you. Your goals, your values, the things that you really want, it's going to naturally draw you to the folks that you want to look up to, which is fair, which is 1000% fair. Next thing we got to remember is fame is relative. All right. Just because someone's well known doesn't mean they're worthy of being followed. Fame is often a byproduct of timing, luck, media, and sometimes chaos. Don't let it blind you. Hear me on that one, folks. Let's say it for the people in the back, all the way up in the back, behind the church, right? Let's see if we can scream that one to the whole world. Fame is relative. Just because someone's well-known doesn't mean they're worthy of being followed. Fame, often a byproduct of timing, luck, and media. Sometimes chaos, all right? There's a lot of stupid shit going on the internet from people who are quote-unquote famous. Famous for being stupid. Famous for being jackasses. Famous for being absolutely the wrong type of folks that you don't want your kids listening to. That's what fame can do. So you got to understand, fame is very, very relative in terms of what we look up to. And we got to explain that to our young people. All right, we really have to do that. Okay. Number one. Let's break down the top 5 before I run out of time, because I'm gonna start talking. All right, number 1. Measure actions, not fame. It goes right in alignment with what I've already expressed. All right. Measure the actions, not the fame. Let me be clear. Just because someone is famous doesn't mean they're not a role model, right? Because I know I kind of trashed famous people. It can sound like I'm trashing famous people. So I wanted to make this number 1. Just because someone is famous doesn't mean they're not a role model, all right? It shouldn't just be the reason they are, okay? Take 2 names that I admired over for the years, all right? So just so we're clear, there's 2 people that are off limits, all right? When it comes to my framing and, the way they are publicly talked about, that I'm going to defend no matter what, that I'm still like the little fan kid that is super like the fan guy, like the fanboy, like the obsessive fan, right? There's 2 people that I still admire to this day that I don't think I'm going to get over that. I'm not going to outgrow that fandom, all right? It's Ray Lewis and it's Jay-Z, all right? Ray Lewis isn't just in the Hall of Fame. He was my linebacker. I grew up in Maryland, all right? A socially misfit, and found my sense of belonging on the football field playing linebacker. So, of course, I looked up to Ray, but it wasn't the ESPN highlights that made him a role model. It's what he did after football, the motivational speeches, the leadership, his public faith in God, his work in the community. That's impact. So understand, yes, I am a huge Ray Lewis fan because of how I grew up in the things, me playing linebacker in Maryland, again, where he made a name for himself and where he became famous. That's where I was, I found my acceptance. But it's beyond what ESPN captured. It's beyond the Hall of Fame. Is beyond all the accolades and all the things that are associated with Ray Lewis. It's actually the things that he does in the community. Again, the public faith in God, the motivational speech. You can look up Ray Lewis's name right now and you can see the energy. You can see what he's doing, in the community. I met him once. It was at a camp or whatever, but the person that he's been able to display and the model that he's been able to show, That is what we look up to, not necessarily the part about him that makes ESPN, right? Those are the things that are important. When he first came on the scene, you got to understand this guy was in an orange jumpsuit in the courtroom, like he was in jail. He spent, I think, 10 days in jail. That was the first time he was really made like worldwide famous, is when he was, shown in the courtroom, because of some double murder charge that turned out to be, ridiculous. And then the next year he was holding up a Super Bowl trophy as a Super Bowl MVP. Those were the 365 days in which the world really became to know Ray Lewis. So, of course, the actions and the fact that things can grow wherever you are right now in this year does not mean you can't grow and develop into something in the next 12 months. That is the debunking. That is the thing he debunked just by what he did. Those are the things that you got to measure the person's actions, and then what he became after he retired, how he retired, that last ride. You got to think the man announced his retirement and then ended up winning a Super Bowl for his last game. I mean, come on, man. You cannot write a better script than that. That's Sugar Lou, baby. Ooh. Okay, so again, the fame, yes, the fame is understood because he's visible, but that's not necessarily the reason that I look up to him or he's a role model. It's the actions, the things that I can start implementing. Like, damn sure can't play like Ray Lewis, right? We know that, but there's certain things that he's done in the community, certain ways you can develop. You can help touch young people, you can work some camps, you can do certain things that are still going to have the same kind of impact. That's what it's about. Using your platform, using the fact that a lot of people look up to you to create opportunities and to create something better, right? That's number one. Now, the next person, Jay-Z. Again, two people are off limits with me. It's Ray Lewis and Jay-Z. Jay-Z, everyone's favorite rapper, right? But for me, he was a crash course in intellectual property. Intellectual property. Before I heard that phrase, and listen, before I heard that phrase in a classroom, and in fact, I don't think I've ever heard the phrase. I've never heard the phrase in a classroom. I saw it in his moves, from music to business to building generational wealth. He gave me a blueprint I could apply. His success wasn't just about lyrics, it was about ownership. And both times I saw them live, I was with my father, which says even more about what this truly means. Bottom line is, fame might get your attention, but actions earn admiration. So just on the Jay-Z point, is intellectual property. I never really understood. I never even knew what it means. I didn't learn intellectual property in school. Yes, now I have intellectual property in my books and understanding the power of having IP. But had it not been for a couple of lines, a couple of lyrics in his songs, or the way he transcended the rap world into, books. I mean, one of the things I asked for, it was my college graduation gift was his book Decoded, where he basically took all his songs and put it in a written form where folks can actually read it, and it just continues to recreate his intellectual pride, the artistry and the way I continue to recreate what moves swiftly is about, redefine it, all that stuff, whether it's the systems, all of that stuff is way more, it's going to be way more valuable to me in the future, because, my kids and the things that I leave behind, you can always leave behind intellectual property. That's the key. All right. That's the understanding. We have to understand those things, is that, yes, Ray Lewis and Jay-Z, they're famous, but it's more so about what I learned from them that I could apply it to my own life that made it so they were valuable. So that's number one. Number two, reliability is better than visibility. Reliability is better than visibility. Let's break that down. For a second. All right. So then we'll read directly from the article for my podcast listeners. If fame gets the headlines, reliability wins championships. And when I think about reliability, I think about my mom, dad, and sister. No cameras, no followers, just consistent love and support. One night, I'm going to break the story down a little bit. So one night during my senior year of high school, we had an away game out in Northern Virginia. And again, like I mentioned, I grew up in Maryland. So it was a drive. It was a Friday night game all the way to Robinson. Robinson had beat us the year before, so we had to go to Robinson in Northern Virginia and play them on a Friday night. It was really kind of messed up our schedule, but that's not normally what we do. Usually if we're in an away game, we would play those Saturday afternoons, but it was a Friday night game, and we had to go into a very hostile When I say hostile, a very hostile environment, in Robinson. All right. So we won. I played okay. I didn't play that great. But after the game, I looked around and saw my family waving from the stands. I didn't get a chance to talk to them, but when I got home, my sister said, laughing, we had to leave right after. It was a long drive. That's real sacrifice. That's real. That sacrifice. That's showing up when no one's watching. They didn't just show up for the big moments. They dropped me off every practice, came to every game. They knew my teammates. They knew my coaches. They weren't famous, but they were always there. And that's what makes them role models. So let's kill the idea that you need a platform to be, in fact, impactful. All you need is your priorities in order. That is what a real role model does. All right. So just to give you guys, again, some context here. Northern Virginia was a drive, and between my sister was in college at the time, mother and father, they both worked. My dad ran his own business, mother's still working, and they had to figure out how they were going to get to damn Northern Virginia on a Friday night for 7:30, coming from Maryland. And if you're from the DMV, that traffic, that I-95 traffic is a mother during that time. It's a problem, right? So they figure out a way to get there. The game in the Robinson game is actually rain delayed. So there was a lightning delay. We didn't finish that game probably till close to 12 o'clock, close to midnight because of the lightning delay, and everything was out of whack. So we win. The game is actually on YouTube. The game is that, just look up 2006. Yeah, 2006, the game against Robinson. It's actually still on YouTube to this very day, right? Somebody recorded it and it's still on YouTube. But I remember we won in overtime. It was a dramatic win, and everyone celebrated. We're pumped because this was big. We had to get our get back. We beat Robinson came to get counsel and beat our ass the year before, but this year we came back, returned the favor, and said, okay, we this is the way we handle our shit. We don't just let those losses go. We're gonna get into that in a second. The next couple reasons here, but anyway, I saw them as the game was ending, and you see all three of them just waving like, all right, see. And I'm looking for them after the game, like when everybody is seeing their family before we get on the bus, and they had already gone home. So by the time I got home, my sister's like, yeah, no, we had to go. We were saying bye, like bye. See your ass at home. We made it out here. You see us, bye. It was funny. It was funny because, again, they made it there, but it's like, yeah, we made it here, but now we got to get the hell up out of here. Okay? Because Northern Virginia, again, that was a drive. So, yeah, just to showing up, truly appreciate it. It's reliability versus the visibility, knowing and making sure, just the action in itself, making sure that they knew they were in the stands, and then, they went about their business. So that's very key. That's important. So that's number 2. Number 3, are they teaching you something new? A role model should be a teacher, whether they have a chalkboard or not. Let me shout out 2 men. Hold on, let me put this on the screen real quick. We might go a little bit over 35. All right, so they're teaching you something new. A role model should be a teacher, whether they have a chalkboard or not. Let me shout out 2 men who did just that. Now, coming from the family that I grew up around, I was open enough to receive the teacher from great men, great coaches that I had that really poured into me, right? So Coach Brian Davis, he introduced me to the acronym that I've spoken about very frequently on this show: WATER, work ethic, attitude, teamwork, enthusiasm, respect. At the time, I didn't even know what an acronym was. He taught me this stuff long before I even know what an acronym was. I never learned what an acronym was in the actual school teaching setting, but obviously with him, I learned what it was there, but I never forgot it. It stuck, and I've been carrying that lesson ever since. Check out. So I did write a full story on him. Just check out Wintrepreneur, no N words, right? So this is what I put it out there. So again, you guys are free to go read that. Next person, Coach Steve Gent. He was my gym teacher / and linebackers coach in high school. Taught me how to play the position, taught me the terminology, taught me how to show up on time. And I actually talked about him in a recent video where we talked about showing up on time and making sure we're doing what we have to do to show up on time. It might not show here because I think I'm signed in on this. So, and And just so we're clear, so Coach Steve Gant, gym teacher / linebackers coach, that was his role in my life. Now, just so we're clear, I'm on this side of life now. I'm evaluating players now. And if I was evaluating myself, this is exactly the scouting report I would give on myself. All right. I was never the most athletic player on the team. I was never the most strongest. I was slower than other players, weaker than other players, not as quick. Again, not the athlete. But because of Coach Gant, because of his coaching and accountability, I became the team captain, all conference, first team all conference, first team all state, and an honorable mention all Met, which is a big deal for someone who really was a Division V athletic player. All right, for somebody who was Division V athletically, figured out a way to get all these accolades and go on and play Division I football. It was because there were great coaches teaching me terminologies, how to show up, how to outwork folks who are stronger, faster, and better than you. Straight up, that shit matters. It matters. Tebow is famous for saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Come on, man. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. There's a lot of talent out there that doesn't work hard, and hard work is going to beat it every single time. Every single time, because we're not talking about just one or two plays that you look good at. We're talking about consistently bringing it for all 4 quarters, all 12 rounds, whatever it is you want to call it. We're going to bring it every single day, right? And that is the power of, are they teaching you something new? Next thing, number 4, you have to focus on winning. I know. I hear a lot of losers out there. And I will call you loser, not because of what's happening on the scoreboard. I will call you a loser because you've accepted losing. All right, that's the key. That's the thing. All right, being called a loser isn't necessarily me taking a shot at you because of what happened on the scoreboard. Being called a loser has to do with more so, are you okay and are you fine with losing? All right, is this something that you just accept? That is where you actually become a loser. Now, losing is going to happen. I lost a ton of stuff. Done lost a lot. All right. In fact, next week when we talk about mental adjustments, I'm going to be breaking that concept down a little bit further. But being a loser is when you just simply accept it and you're okay with it. That's where the problem comes, is when you've accepted losing and you're just happy with it, you're just content. That's bullshit. We got to get that out the system. We have to be striving to win. Winning is important. This is what we like to do. Win. All right. So yes, you got to win. I'm not saying winning is the most important thing, but I am saying this. If you're not striving towards something, what are you doing? After the same game in Northern Virginia. All right. So again, I'm going right back to the Northern Virginia game because I thought it was a perfect example for today's talk, or this week's topic. Is after that same game in Northern Virginia, I was down. I was feeling down. I didn't play my best. I really didn't. Coach Gant, he let me know. He goes, "Hey man, it didn't look good. Didn't look good at all. It's early in the season, and the week before I was dehydrated and went to the hospital. All that. There was a ton of excuses I could have made for not playing well. But he let me know the next day, hey man, you did not play well. But at the same time, here's what Coach Gant said. I'm going to read it directly from the article. But the next day in practice, he shifted his focus, and his message was about the win. He reminded us that the mission was bigger than one play, one performance, one person. A real role model shows you that victory is possible, even when you're not perfect. They teach you how to contribute to the team and still get the outcome, even when you're struggling. And that right there is real leadership. Just so we have some context, he broke it down like this. He goes, look, guys, and he was talking to all of us. He said, hey, be very proud of what you guys did. Be very proud of what you did. All right, you got the win. You went out to Northern Virginia, a very hostile environment, and you got the win. Again, your star, your captain, your linebacker, he didn't play his best game, but we got the win. We figured the shit out. And that's what role models really do, man. Role models do not kick you when you're down necessarily. They'll tell you, hey, you played like shit, but they're not going to just give up on you because of a mistake. And that too often is the key. And as an educator now, I see it every single day. Is when you get a kid who may get talked to a certain way, they get so down on themselves, man. And we got to figure out a way to, again, give discipline, give structure, but at the same time, do not say it in a way where the kid is just so distraught that they don't know where up and down is, all that kind of stuff. All right. So keeping a healthy distance is number 5. This one is absolutely key. I'll read it to you directly because I see what on time. 30. All right, so might go a minute after, but keeping a healthy distance. This one's often overlooked, but it matters. I was never the type to get too close to my coaches. All right. And as a kid, I used to think about what I used to think that was a bad thing. All right. What maybe I wasn't favorite material, maybe I didn't have the gift, but it was actually a blessing because my mom, dad, and sister were so involved. I had a life outside of football. I didn't tie my identity to the game. I was able to see beyond the field. I had perspective. That healthy distance gave me space to take what I needed without becoming dependent on any one influence. It helped me mature. Role models shouldn't consume you. They should inspire you to become a stronger version of yourself. Final word. To be the best role models won't always be famous, but they'll always be real. Real actions, real consistency, real knowledge, real wins, and the real respect for your boundaries and growth, and a real respect for your boundaries and growth. So this week, as you think about who's influencing your journey, remember, don't follow a model who's just playing a role. Find someone who's playing their THEIR role authentically. Boom! Tomorrow we're gonna break down on Wintrepreneur Wednesday. We're gonna break down how to create a real role model aside from the fame. And again, just so we're clear, I want to reiterate, especially with that healthy distance one, when you are so tied into the game as a young person, but you just don't have the athletic ability of your peers and the people that you're playing with, when you don't have it, then you don't get too close. There's a healthy professional distance, and the coaches don't become like your friends and your buddies, which ultimately can deter you and can ultimately be harmful to you because you become too dependent on people. There needs to be that healthy distance, the same way that you as a business owner, you need to make sure there's a strong distance. And I told you guys at the beginning of this is what we do here every single day. We translate the things that are happening on the football field and we apply them to businesses so you can see it, you can feel it, you can understand it. It is clear to you. All right. So all that being said, if you want me to dive deeper into all that, please make sure you go to makeyourmove.com. All right. That's where all of the information, all of the things in terms of how I can serve you as a business owner from the employee development standpoint, how we can really create workshops and keynotes and books and all sorts of things that are geared to help you as a business owner create a system towards employee development. All of that, makeyourmove.com. That's makeyaMove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.